The pressure of goals. We're told to set goals in all parts of our life. And what about resolutions? Why do we put that pressure on ourselves too? Well, we're told to write down our goals and be smart about them, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound. But again, that's more pressure about our goals. All right, my name is Gene Hemmett. You probably already know I'm a business coach. But do you know what a business coach really does? A business coach works with clients to get really clear about what they want to create. Seriously, why do we do this to ourselves? We set goals and we make resolutions. So research shows that 50% of Americans will make resolutions. It's about the same as I see in my audiences. That same research will tell you that 88% fail. So why do we put this pressure on ourselves? Is it peer pressure? Or do we do it because we want to be rich? Well, Dave Ramsey is a very famous author, radio personality, podcaster, blogger, you name it. He talks about money. And he recently wrote something with Tom Corley. It's the 20 things that the rich do every day. So here they are. 80% of wealthy are focused on accomplishing some single goal, and only 12% of the poor do this. 81% of wealthy maintain a to-do list versus 19% of the poor. 70% of wealthy write down their goals versus 19% of the poor. 84% of wealthy believe good habits create opportunity luck versus 4% of the poor. And this one's really interesting. 86% of wealthy believe in lifelong educational self-improvement versus 5% of the poor. So why do we set goals and make resolutions? I know the answer. It's to be different in some time in the future, to create a new future. It's to change, to transform. We set goals because we want to be different and we want to feel different. The key is not in setting goals and making resolutions. The key is in achieving them. So how can you achieve them? How can you ensure your success to achieving the goals you set and even keeping the resolutions that were important to you at one point in time? Well, sometimes to understand success, we must look at failure. And why do we fail at these things? It's because we haven't tied a specific behavior to those specific goals. What if I told you it was ingrained in the way we think, our natural way of being? That means you're destined to fail if you leave it to the natural resistance that's inside the normal way of thinking. So it's not your fault. Or is it? The success you want for your goals and your resolution is a function of your willpower. It's pretty simple, right? Can you make a commitment and get this done? The brain cells that operate willpower are in the prefrontal cortex. That's the part of the brain that's right behind the forehead, right here. It's the same area of the brain that we use to stay focused, to solve problems, and even in setting short-term memory. So why would we resist what we want? Because we haven't made that natural connection to the behaviors to support the goals or the resolutions. So how do you increase your willpower? It's pretty simple. You take that goal, and let's say just one goal, and you break it down into a behavior that supports that goal. And it must be small. It must be something that you can do easily. So would you like to know how to make it easier and risk-free in achieving those goals? I've got one word for you. Make it instinctual. So I looked that up, and the Google says related to instinct or having instinct. Don't you just hate definitions like that? So what does instinctual really mean? It means to do it at an unconscious level. Any specific goal that's not tied to a specific behavior is destined to fail because it's not instinctual. It's just words. So how do we get there? How do you drive that to a deeper level? So your prefrontal cortex controls that willpower. But how do you strengthen that? I'm going to tell you all about it in this video. Okay, now that that's out of the way, here are the 3 simple steps to achieving your goals. The first one is to take one specific goal and let's focus on that one. If we have too many goals, it just won't work because your mind just can't think about it that way. The second step is to make a practice. And a practice is a ritual that you do over and over again. A lot of people may say habit, but I think habit is kind of like a bad word. We associate it with smoking, cursing, or some other kind of weakness that we have. I love the word practice because it's really about strengthening inside and pulling you forward. And that's what a great practice does. And specifically, it's a ritual that you do on a regular basis at an unconscious level. It's instinctual. Remember, we talked about that before. All right, how about this one, for example? I work with a lot of clients on email and about how email controls them and about how they let it control them. And many times they discover for themselves that they'd love to have a new relationship with email. The best coaching is where the client develops the practice for themselves. I help them refine those things, but in this example, I've had clients that say when they sit down to do email, they will put a timer on their phone. So that's a behavior. And they'll start that timer at 30 minutes. And they will look at it, and it's almost like a game. They are looking to get in and out of email as fast as they can, instead of getting sucked into the hole. So that one instinctual behavior is to set the timer before you sit down. You don't just sit down and jump into email just like you always have. You make a small change. And that's what we're talking about, is what is the smallest change that you can do that will help you achieve those goals and support you. So the third step is set accountability. Accountability is something inside you. You don't have to have a partner, but it does help. Because the promises you make to someone else, you hold in high regard. And I've talked about this before, but it's really important. If you really want this to happen, is for you to tell someone about this new behavior and ask them to hold you accountable for it. And set a regular check-in point for them every time that you want to reinforce this. Is it once a week? Is it once a day? It's up to you. So if you want to make the most out of your willpower and increasing it to a new level, then take these 3 steps. Number 1, take one specific goal. Number 2, create a practice specifically that supports that goal so that you achieve it and it becomes instinctual. Number 3, set accountability. 3 simple steps. You can do it. If you have questions, here's your chance. I want you to reach out to me. I want you to find me using the link below in this blog post. If you're not on this blog post, then you can go to coreelevation.com and there'll be a link in the menu bar that says strategy session. Well, that's it for this tip. So if you're on YouTube, I want you to like it if you like it, or share it with someone that you think can really use this and benefit this in their business. But if you're on my website, give me a comment. Let me know what you think. How can you use this? What is your practice? All right, I'm signing off. My name's Gene Hammett. Leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next video. So that you so that you just achieve it without even thinking about it. You just do it.